What is going on, guys? It's time for another TNA showdown. And then, speaking of TNA, I gotta be all honest with you guys. I haven't really been in the TNA mood for last night. Especially when I missed, like, basically the first 20 minutes, being the fact that I was in class and stuff like that. But, TNA last night, wasn't too bad last night. So let's not waste any much time on it. And, we do actually have quite a few matches that were made for Turning Point. If I don't get to them in this video, I'll, basically, leave them in the description box for you guys to check out. And let's start it off with the show. And, I know there was a promo at the beginning of the show, but I missed it, so I'm not really going to get into that. But I am going to get into, basically the first night of the night, and which was the Jersey Shore Street Fight. That's right, Jersey Shore Street Fight, basically, the Shore Street Fight. We had Robbie E versus Jay Lethal in a non-title matchup, of course, with the Street Fight. And, this was okay. I wasn't really into it, and basically, with all honesty, I didn't really care for it. The only thing I cared for was basically just Jay Lethal. I don't really care about the whole Shore thing. But anyway, we have a brawl in the ring with these two guys. We have a brawl right inside the ring as well with them. Jay Lethal trying to do some things in here. We see the use of a Singapore cane in this matchup, by both guys. Jay Lethal using a Singapore cane, while Robbie E was inside the trash can and, hitting Robbie E twice. And not only that, the crowd wanted it 2 times, so they got it 2 times, which is actually pretty cool on that. Most of the weapons were used. We saw signs being used here in this match too, so it was kind of a quick match in my opinion. At least it seemed that way. But yeah, most of the weapons being used. Jay Lethal was going to go to the top at one time, but Cookie basically got involved and sprayed Jay Lethal in the eyes, which actually helps Robbie E get the win here. And that's basically what happens with that. So, Robbie E, I believe, got the swinging neck breaker onto Jay Lethal. Excuse me. And, Robbie E is the winner. And also, at Turning Point, we will have an X Division Championship between Robbie E and Jay Lethal. But it seems like to be a singles match and not like, a street fight or anything. So, that's one of the matches added to Turning Point. Excuse me again. We have an EV2 RVD promo, and of course, with RVD having that tension with EV 2.0 and, with Hogan getting into his head and everything, and, basically RVD getting frustrated with them, so we have that as a promo, so I'm not going to really get too much on that, but that's what basically happened, and just Tommy Dreamer trying to get RVD on their side. Then we get into a 6 knockout tag team match. And this wasn't too bad. We've seen all the knockouts getting involved in this match. We had Mickie James and the Beautiful People, which I really liked. We had Tara, Sarita, and Madison on the opposite team. With that, we see the high knee by Angelina Love here. We see just a little bit of everything from everybody. We see Tara, getting the Widow's Peak to Mickie James and that whole thing with that. Both of those knockouts, and I will say this, we do have a matchup at Turning Point, knockouts match between Tara and Mickie James, which I think should be a good match. When those two get in the ring, I'm sure it's going to be, a good match between those two, especially with the rivalry that they had in WWE, so I'm actually looking forward to that match. Hopefully it won't disappoint. But anyway, moving on to the six knockout tag team match. Also Velvet Sky, trying to get in here as well with it. I think she used a drop kick too. And Sarita was in this match too. Again, Sarita being used a lot lately, so which is a good thing to see Sarita actually being used. And speaking of Sarita, she was able to get the win for her team with a Tiger Bomb, which I believe was to Mickie James, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what helps, Sarita's team was able to get the win. So, that was actually pretty cool on that. But before we went into the match, we had a brawl, which lasted for a while, and the referee was able to, get that whole thing situated, and then we had the match, and then that's what happened at the end. So, that was pretty good, knockouts match with everyone getting involved. That was pretty enjoyable. Then we get into, which hadn't been the match of the night. Of course, this is a triple threat tag team championship match between Motor City Machine Guns, Generation Me, and Inc. Incorporated. And even though the Motor City Machine Guns are going to have their match at Turning Point with Team 3D in our last match, we did have a championship match. And, this was actually a good match. I was really into this. Basically what you would expect out of these three teams. A lot of high-paced action, edge of your seat, a lot of good stuff in this match, a lot of double teams. We see a suicide dive here in this match, basically by most of the teams. Also, most of the teams with Inc. and Motor City Machine Guns in the suicide dive, and diving to the outside onto Generation Me, getting a shot at them. We see the high crossbody by Shannon Moore here. Shannon Moore getting onto the top ropes there. Of course, we see the double team to the outside as well. And all teams, getting involved. So, it's a very good, back and forth match. And in the end, Motor City Machine Guns doing a high crossbody onto the top rope and was able to get the win and retain the championships. So it's still going to be Motor City Machine Guns, Team 3 at Turning Point. If any of the other teams would have won, it would have been them and basically Team 3D at Turning Point, but we're not going to see that. So it's just going to be Guns and Team 3D for the Tag Team Championships. So that was a good match. I thought it was, basically the match of the night in my opinion. So if you wanted to see TNA last night, that was the match to see, so I suggest you guys go out and watch it. But anyway, we're going to move along here. Then we get into Jeff Hardy promo, saying, stuff that he's basically the Antichrist of professional wrestling and all that good stuff. So, not really going to get a whole bunch into that, but that's what happened with that. Then we get into our next match, which is another tag team match between AJ Styles and Douglas Williams against RVD and Raven. Of course, the whole tension of the thing with EV 2.0 again played into effect with this match. It was basically AJ Styles and Douglas Williams in control. This was a pretty good match. We see the high knee from Douglas Williams, what he usually does. We see the Rolling Thunder by, RVD, trying to get back in this match as well. We see the AJ Styles high-flying knee in this match. Douglas gets in control for most of the match too, until he, tags in AJ Styles. Then after a while, when the referee was just paying attention to the match, we see Ric Flair come out. That's right, Ric Flair comes out with the TV championship, takes out Raven, and he's basically out for the rest of the match. RVD gets pretty pissed off about it, and is trying to figure out where Raven was, and he gets to find him. But that's basically what helps the other team with AJ Styles and Douglas Williams, with the flying elbow by AJ Styles, and that's what basically helps the one with that team. So AJ Styles and Williams of Fortune gets the one with the help of Ric Flair, and the whole thing with him hitting the championship on Raven. So that tension again keeps building with RVD. I don't really like that too much. To me, it doesn't really make too much sense. I think, RVD just should be, facing for the championship, getting his rematch against Jeff Hardy at Turning Point. That's my, whole thing with that. But, with RVD turning basically on EV2, I don't really like that whole deal. But anyway, let's move on to the main event. And the main event is, of course, yes, a chain match. I wasn't really into this at all. not all chain matches are good. There have been some good chain matches too in the past, but anyway, it was supposed to be Mr. Anderson and Jeff Jarrett, but unfortunately with Mr. Anderson having that concussion, we did get to hear his music at the, for the main event, but he didn't come out. Jeff Jarrett, wasn't too happy about that. Uh, so he still wanted to face Anderson, even though he had a concussion. But then we had Matt Morgan coming out. And, Matt Morgan, well, seems like to be a face right now, making basically a face turn here, and, going against his team with Immortal, and, talking about concussions and stuff like that, basically going to Mr. Anderson's side. And Jeff Jarrett really doesn't care, and just saying that he still wants the chain match to happen, and even if it has to be Matt Morgan, and that's what basically happens. Jeff Jarrett tried to take control and bust up Matt Morgan. Actually, pretty damn good here. Matt Morgan tried to get in control too. He does his usual stuff with the elbow to the ropes, and how he usually does that to Jeff Jarrett. They go to the outside for a little while, interact with the fans, so we see that little ball there. But in the end, Jeff Jarrett was able to get the win with the STL. So this match was pretty quick. I wasn't really into it, but of course Jeff Jarrett, is able to get the win. And, Jeff Jarrett also had a new look, by the way, kind of like the old school Jeff Jarrett look. I thought that was pretty cool to have his heel character, and, really look like a heel. In the end, also as well, really, Fortune, that's right, I almost said EV 2.0 coming out, but Fortune comes out and attacks Matt Morgan. Jeff Jarrett helping along too, and just basically choking out, Matt Morgan onto the top ropes with the chain, and that's basically closes the show for TNA, and, TNA wasn't too bad this week. It was okay. I just wasn't really in the TNA mood this week, with all honesty. TNA, gets really confusing at times. Basically, the only thing I was into was the tag team match and, Mickie James, of course. But other than that, TNA, was okay. But that has to do with the TNA showdown. Let me know what you guys thought on the show, and that has to do with the video. And as always, I will talk to you guys later. Peace.